Hello and welcome everyone. Happy Ramadan. I hope you're all having a good time, and most importantly, I hope you all are safe. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss the conditional sentences, type 1 and type 2. Previously, we did talk about type 1 on unit 2, and we did learn how to form conditional sentences type 2 in unit 4. In this video, we are going to take a closer look and distinguish between the two types by answering these two questions. When do we use type 1 and when do we use type 2? How do we form a conditional sentence using type 1 and how do we form a conditional sentence on type 2? After that, I'll give you a few examples and finally, I'll give you a few exercises. All right, now let's go on. Start by when do we use type 1? We use type 1 to talk about real or very probable situations, okay, things that make sense. Like, for an example, if you study hard, you might get the full mark. Okay, this is a very probable result. This actually might happen if you really study hard. Then it makes sense that you will succeed and might get the full mark, right? Now let's go to type 2. When do we use this kind of sentences? We use type 2 to talk about imaginary situations, okay? About the present or the future situations, okay? We don't use it to talk about the past. No. So again, we use type 2 to talk about imaginary situations or unreal situations or hypothetical situations, okay? Things that are not likely to happen in real life, all right? And we use them to talk about present or future situations. You can see that I underlined those two tenses, the present or the future. You're going to see why in a few minutes. Now, let's go back to type 1. How do we form a sentence in type 1? Now, we know in all conditional sentences, we have two phrases, the if phrase and the result phrase. All right? So, with the if phrase on type 1, we're going to use the present simple. All right? We're going to use the present simple tense. All right, and then with the if clause, you can see that we separated the phrases by a comma, right? If you're going to start with the if clause, you're going to separate the two clauses by a comma. But if you decided to start with the result clause, then you're not going to use the comma. You're going to drop it. All right? So as we said, with the if phrase, we're going to use the present simple. And then with the result phrase, you have three options, okay? You can use a modal verb plus the infinitive of the verb. What do we mean by modal verbs? Like can, like must, like may, like should. Or you can use will, future will, plus the infinitive again, the base form of the verb. Or you can use the imperative. What do we mean by the imperative? We said this before. Imperative sentences are the ones that you give an order with, okay? With the imperative, you give an order or a request. All right? You ask someone to do something for you. All right. Now, let's go to type 2. How do we form a conditional sentence using type 2? So, with the if clause, with the if phrase, you're going to use what tense? You're going to use the past simple tense. All right? Notice that we said that we use type 2 to talk about imaginary situations, about present or future. Okay? It's not past. No. You want to change something that is in your real life right now. You're not making wishes about the past, all right? But when you form the sentence, you're going to use the past simple, all right? And then with the result clause, you're going to use modal verbs, but not any modal verbs. Only would or could plus the infinitive. Is it clear? I sure hope so. Now let's go to the examples. I'll give you an example using type 1. If I clean my room, see, what tense did we use with the F clause? We used the present simple, clean. If I clean my room, then what would happen? What's most likely to happen? Where's the most probable result? My mom will be pleased. Alright? We used future will. My mom will be pleased. See, she's going to be happy. Alright? She's not going to be upset about it. It doesn't make sense. We said we use type 1 to talk about things that make sense. What is the most probable result? Alright? Another example. If you arrive first, alright, here we're going to use what? The imperative. Order some food. I'm telling you to do something. Order some food. See? Is it clear? In this sentence, in this example, you can use future will or you can use a modal verb. It's the same. You can say, if I clean my room, my mom might be happy, may be happy, can be happy or pleased, alright? Or should be pleased. It's fine. But in here, I use the imperative, alright? Is it clear? So in all cases, people, on the result clause, you're going to use the infinitive, whether it's after modal verb or after future will, or if you decided to use the imperative, it's always going to be infinitive, all right? The base form of the verb. Now, let's go to type 2. Let's start with the examples. And as you remember, EG stands for example, right? It's an abbreviation that stands for the Latin phrase exempli gratiam. Now, if I found a treasure, I could change my name. Well, maybe I should have aimed higher and said I could change my life, my whole life, right? So, here we use type 2. Why? Because it doesn't make sense. It's not really probable or something real that you might find a treasure. All right? This is imaginary. It's like you're making a wish. All right? So if I found a treasure, we use the past simple because we're talking about something imaginary, something that isn't possibly going to happen. All right? Might happen. We're not going to say it's impossible, but it's not most likely to happen. All right? In real life. So, if I found a treasure, I could change my life. I'm gonna say my life, all right? See, we used could plus the infinitive, change. Not changes, not changing, not changed, but change, the infinitive. All right? So it's easy. If you're talking about something imaginary or something that isn't real or hypothetical, then you're going to use type 2, right? But I'll give you another example and I want you to see. If she danced, everyone would laugh. Now, is this sentence, does it seem imaginary? If somebody danced, everyone would laugh. Might be, right? Maybe this girl doesn't know how to dance. Maybe, and that's why everyone is going to laugh at her, right? But why did we use type 2? It's because we're talking about someone who is very shy. All right? Maybe here we're talking about one of our friends, someone we know that isn't going to dance in public. All right? So you're going to ask yourself, well, if I face this kind of sentence, how am I going to know if this person is shy or not? You're not going to. But there's going to be a hint for you. If in the exam they gave you the F clause with the past simple, with the past tense, you're immediately going to know that you're going to use type 2. Alright? So in the result clause, you're going to use would or could plus the infinitive. Or in the exam, if they gave you the result clause and you saw that we have the modal verb could or would, you're immediately going to know that we're talking about type 2, and with the F clause, you're going to use the past. All right? Is it clear? I'll give you a few exercises. Let's go on and practice. Now, you're going to tell me if this is type 1 or if it's type 2. If she had a mobile, I would call her. All right? Maybe you're talking about someone who doesn't have a phone. All right? This sentence doesn't sound imaginary, right? So is it type 1? But if we took a closer look, we're going to see with the F clause, what are we using? We're using the past tense. And with the result clause, we're using would. So is it type 1? No, it's type 2. All right? It's type 2. The one who said this sentence is talking about someone, maybe they're poor, maybe their parents are strict, and so they're not giving them a phone. Or maybe we're talking about a child, all right? A lost child or something. So if she had a mobile, which is impossible for someone at her age, okay? I would call her. You're using your imagination, okay? All right, so when we're using type 2 people, it doesn't always have to be something magical or something really impossible, okay? It could be something that isn't impossible in real life. Now, let's go to the second sentence. If they go to Australia, they will go whale watching whales. A whale in Arabic means حيتان, مشاهدة الحيتان. All right? حوت. Now, is this type 1 or is it type 2? You're going to look at the F clause. Did we use the present or the past? We used the present, right? And here, with the F clause, we used future well. So, is it type 1 or 2? 1 or 2? It's type 1. See? That was easy. Now, I'll give you another exercise. If you come with me, I blank the shopping with you. I am doing the shopping with you. I did the shopping with you. I would do the shopping with you, or I will do the shopping with you. Now, there are possible answers, right? That's probably what you're thinking, but you always have to follow the rule. All right? We're not talking about spoken language. Here we're using the formal language, so you have to stick to the rules. So if you come with me, with the if clause, did we use the present or the past? Is this something imaginary or is it real or very probable? First of all, it's not imaginary, right? But it could be type 2. So we're going to look at the tense. Is it past? No, it's not past. It's present simple. So this is type 1. And we said with type 1, do we use present progressive? Do we use past? Do we use would plus the infinitive? Or do we use will plus the infinitive? I hope you got it right. The answer is D. We use will, future will, plus the infinitive. All right? Now, that's all for now. I hope you're all having a good time. Stay home, stay safe, and that's it. Goodbye. You know the owl's sound, right? The owl's voice. So, have a nice day.